All right, Max, Noah, and Perry here on the X106 NBA podcast, and we'll be talking about the new NBA All-Star Draft that's coming up. It's similar to what they've been doing in pro football and in the NHL, and what we will also be talking about is LaMelo Ball won't be playing high school. He's just going to forget playing high school and won't even try to see if he can go up ahead and further. He will try and just, I don't know what their plan is, but we'll talk about that just a little bit. So with the new NBA All-Star format, sounds like we have LeBron James and Steph Curry are the two team captains, and then they will draft between a select chosen of All-Stars. Mm-hmm. Now, they didn't specify whether it was going to be the two just split up into East and West All-Stars and then they draft between there, or if they just pick the top 12 players. Not entirely sure how that's going to go, but what do you guys think about the new format that they'll have in the NBA All-Star Game?
Well, how I understood it was the fans are going to vote for the starters and the reserves that they believe should be on their rightful spots, and then the captains will pick from either conference. So that's how I understood it. I could be wrong, but I'm with Stephen A. Smith on what he said on First Take yesterday, and I don't think that this fixes the problem with the All-Star game or the quality. The only problem I feel like this fixes is that stars are not going to be all on the West team. They're going to be kind of split up. At the same time, there's still a problem of the NBA players not playing much defense, or if any defense at all, during this game to make it competitive. Actually, they're just throwing alley-oops and whatnot. But I think that, like I said, that this will split up the stars, put them on two different teams. I think it gives it a nice twist, but it's not going to fix the problem.
Yeah, see, the only thing I don't like about it really is that they're still picking 12 players from the East and 12 players from the West, and then the captains decide between them. I think it should just be a big pool. I think it should just be the highest vote getters, and then the captain should just pick between those players, because there's still a lot of better players on the West than there is on the East. And like Perry was saying too, I mean, the main problem in the All-Star game really is there's no defense being played. I mean, when you look at it, and like Perry was even telling me about this earlier, it used to be in the NBA, they used to not try for the first half, and then they're kind of working into it the second half. The game's getting closer, they're picking it up, they're playing defense. But nowadays, I mean, they're just throwing oops right from the start. They just don't care. I mean, there's a big problem there.
Well, and you see that in a lot of the different All-Star games. Certainly in Major League Baseball, it meant more to them back in the day when they had no interleague play, / maybe they'd play one interleague series a year. Mm-hmm. But then you play so many different teams from the other league, American and National League, it kind of dilutes the product a little bit, dilutes the specialness of that product. So it's interesting to see how they're going to do that. And I'm wondering if what you brought up, that there's not going to be that many All-Stars in the East, it's like, who do you pick from?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because, I mean, there's so many guys on the West, and then
there's a lot of players that are going to be, like, left out.
Right. So it's interesting to see. I'm not sure how it'll work. I see, the thing with the NBA All-Star Game is, in All-Star games in general, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Baseball tried to make it mean something when they had, you get home field advantage for the World Series if your league won the World or the All-Star Game. Which then it's like, why do you have an exhibition game mean so much? Mm-hmm. So I would like to think there has to be some sort of heavy financial gain towards it, I guess. I'm sure they get paid somewhat if you win, but I think there needs to be a big portion of that. Or even with all the resting things coming out, why not maybe give the East All-Stars or the West All-Stars a rest day, an extra rest day now that it's legal, I guess, or an illegal to rest. But I don't know. There's something that just needs to be done. And, heck, even the All-Star game, the night before the All-Star game, that's not as entertaining as it used to be. Because, I mean, the dunk contest, we've pretty much seen everything now. So it's kind of
about the most exciting part of that night is the three-point contest, really.
Exactly. And so, I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas how you could fix this, or maybe even All-Star games in general?
Well, I feel like, they've added also that whichever team, whoever wins, they'll donate to a Los Angeles charity, and I think that'll that'll be good. But I still also feel like that's kind of like something that's kind of like behind the scenes so much. I feel like you said, they need to add like a home court advantage or something like that, like how it is like in MLB. I think that'll add some twist to it.
There needs to be an extra incentive to actually try and win the game. Otherwise, there's never going to be any competitiveness in it at all.
Because my man Steph Curry, he laid down in the middle of that game, and that's when I knew something.
Yeah, you had
wrong.
Russell Westbrook taking shots from half court. You had alley-oops from half court from the start of the game. I mean, when the score is finishing, you know, in the 160s, 170s, 100. I mean, it's getting too much by that point. They need to find some sort of, you know, balance to some sort of thing to make it competitive. I don't know necessarily about, you know, making like home court in the NBA Finals. That seems like maybe going a little too far, because then it might be too much just for an exhibition game, like you were saying. But I think if they just find some sort of balance, like some sort of way to kind of make it a little competitive but not go too far.
Yeah, but what's something interesting with these two teams, different teams instead of East and West, a draft, it's going to be interesting to see if Kyrie Irving's the best player available. LeBron James has to pick between Kyrie Irving or some other all-star, and it's just going to be those kind of fun things that they're going to have to look out for. Who would be your dream, maybe not dream matchup, but what would you say, like, okay, this will make me watch the NBA All-Star game, at least for the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes to see how it plays out? Like KD, I watched last year because I wanted to see what KD and Russell Westbrook. I don't know why that's so hard to say, but I wanted to see those two mingle, coexist, if you will.
They did a
and
little
then
bit.
they had the alley oop, and then
Yeah.
you had Reggie Miller go kumbaya. So that was fun. I enjoyed that, but then the rest of the game was not much. But what would there be anything you guys would think that would be like, okay, I would love to see Steph and Kyrie in the backcourt together, something like that?
I think last season, the regular season matchup of the Thunder and the Warriors between Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, that's what I got really excited for. So I think seeing them on opposing teams for another game outside of that 4-game series during the season, that's always going to be good. But I think if I had to pick, I'm definitely going with LeBron James versus Kevin Durant, just because those are the two top basketball players in the league, and that's always fun to see those two go at it and actually guard each other. Because like in regular season, most of the time it's pick and rolls and their switches and stuff like that, and you'll have someone like Andre Roberson or Kawhi Leonard, they'll switch on. Well, even Kawhi Leonard, he's a star player, but someone like Roberson, who's not a star player, they'll switch on to the star player, and that's not really the matchup that we want to see, as opposed to like the team, that's what they need to put on that star player.
Yeah, they just put the best defensive matchup on the other team's best player. But I kind of agree with you there. I think it'd be nice to see Kevin Durant and LeBron go at each other more than just 2 games a year and then plus the finals. So that it'll be that extra game that they'll be facing each other. So that'll be kind of cool.
One thing I want to see LeBron and Steph Curry on the same side, and Kyrie and maybe Kevin Durant on the other side.
Yeah.
Just kind of a former, switch the roles a little bit. Obviously, Kyrie's not on the Cavs anymore, but it's still, they went back and forth, and I would love to see Clay guard Steph.
Yeah.
Because I think Clay's one of the more underrated defenders in the entire NBA. So it would be interesting to see them go back and forth, and obviously Curry doesn't have as much of a defensive fortitude as Clay does, but I think that'd be something certainly interesting to see. And let's see, what else did they have during the NBA All-Star Game? They have the celebrity game, which I always enjoy. Mm-hmm. I'll watch that replay on like ESPN2.
The celebrities usually aren't really that great, though, that go on there, to be honest. I mean, ever since Kevin Hart left, they really haven't had too many good celebrities on there.
That's a good point. Kevin Hart was a decent baller. And then what was that one girl's? Oh, Monet Davis. Mm-hmm. I remember that one year. She like crossed him up or something. And, man, that was good.
Hey, he still got the MVP though. So
yeah, he did. Did he score like 2 points or something? He scored like a bucket.
Yeah, his average was like 6 points a game in the 4 MVPs that he had, but he still got it.
What's interesting about the All-Star game is that Saturday night is so much more entertaining than the actual game on Sunday. Because my dad and I, we went when it was in Vegas. Now when I lived out in California, and we went Friday was fun because you can go to the celebrity game and whatnot. And then we had the tickets to All-Star Saturday night, which was much more entertaining. You're more involved. They keep you involved. Then the All-Star game, we left at like the midway through the third quarter. We're just like, well, all right, this is kind of dull. We don't need to see this.
Yeah.
And then the Futures game is pretty cool, I think, when they have the rookies versus sophomores?
Well, now it's the two like analysts. They'll pick a team or whatever, or they like lately they've done Team World versus Team USA.
Right.
So,
But it still will be the first like rookie sophomores, like 2-year players in the NBA.
But that's always fun because you get to see, even though they won't play a whole lot or they won't play really competitive basketball, but you get to see, even last year, Giannis Antetokounmpo, you get to see those guys that you may not normally see up in Milwaukee, but you get to see them on more of a national stage, and I think that's fun to watch.
I mean, that's the first time I saw Kyrie Irving cross somebody up, so that was beautiful to see. Brandon Knight fall a couple times, so that game's always fun if you tune in and watch it.
Yeah, it's always nice because you kind of get to see the future of the NBA, in the first couple seasons where, I mean, they're on teams that usually aren't that good, because they're just the teams just drafted in the lottery, so those players aren't really on good teams, so they aren't on national television. So I mean, this is one of the only times you get to see those players. So it's an exciting game for sure.
And speaking of national exposure, let's change pace here with LaMelo Ball, who
Here we go.
went into his dad, I guess, I don't know if it's unprecedented, but it probably is. He's no longer going to high school, and he is just going to be playing, I guess, AAU ball, and just no longer playing high school basketball, and he's going to be homeschooled. Now, there's two sides to the coin here. One, he gets to focus on college, and the other side is that he's just going to take endorsement money early and be able to have his own shoe and be able to market that. And some people think it's a great strategy. Others, most people, not so much. I'm in the boat of we can't criticize yet because LeVar Ball, the dad, he's a remarkably kind of a great marketer.
I love it.
He's a genius.
Because he's somehow getting people to pay $500 for basketball shoes / $250 for slides. I mean, who does that? But he's somehow getting those people to do that.
Yeah, all coming from a guy that averaged 2.5 points a game in college.
Exactly.
So this is the exposure that he never got through his children.
Exactly. And so he's always involved with it. He's always trying to do something. And now the rumor has it that LaMelo is going to have his own shoe, which would possibly probably more than likely harm his NCAA possibilities, which I believe he already has a commitment from UCLA, or at least he's signed.
Yeah, verbal commitment, yeah.
He has a verbal commitment from UCLA, so I'm assuming if he takes the deal, which plenty of people that we saw get arrested not too long ago, there have been plenty of people that have taken backdoor deals, and I guess LaMelo's saying, I'll take the deal. Just let me take it before anybody else gets in trouble. But what are your guys' thoughts on LaMelo not being able to park his Lamborghini out in front of the school anymore? He's not going to school.
I mean, I kind of think it's almost a genius marketing decision by LeVar Ball, like you said, to pull LaMelo from school, because he'll be able to play AAU ball over the next couple of years, and it's kind of like the same situation that Bryce Harper did in the MLB. He didn't go to high school his last couple of years, and he played different AAU baseball leagues and then got drafted into the majors. So it's kind of like that same situation, and LaMelo could even go off to China here in a couple of years, and I even saw some tweets online where he could even possibly be an unrestricted free agent here, and the Lakers could even sign him here in 3 or 4 years. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of different perspectives that you have to look at this from.
I don't have anything to say about this, to be honest. I mean, it's just one of those situations that we'll just have to see whenever we get there. I mean, of course, it's going to shock you, LaMelo Ball, but like you said, Noah, Bryce Harper did it. So let's just see the NBA version of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where baseball is much more accepting of the high school product going straight to the majors, where the NBA now, They used to be more accepting of it. You know, Kobe, LeBron, all that. But now you have to go to college, which, depending on the way you look at it, it's almost a waste of time depending on who the player is.
Yeah.
Because you could argue that in some ways, shape, or form that half of those guys in the top 10 or top 15, they could have gone straight to the league from high school.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I don't know what LaMelo could do, because I don't know if it's a better branding decision for you to be in college basketball at one of the top programs in the country year in and year out, or just playing AAU ball until you go over to Europe or China, make money there, I guess, and then come back to the States and try and play in the NBA?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I mean, if he's going to have his own signature shoe, and if he's going to be making money off that, he could kind of do what Emmanuel Mudiay did a few years ago. He could go off to China, and I know Emmanuel Mudiay, he signed like a 1-year, $2 million deal, and because he was committed to SMU at the time, and he just bypassed that whole process. He just went over to China and played there, made a couple million, bought his mom a house, bought himself a car, and he came back to the NBA and got drafted. And I mean, he's having a solid career with the Nuggets right now. He struggled his first year, but he looked better last year. So LaMelo could even go that route and do something like that.
Do you think – I'm of the boat that I would rather play in college because, I don't know, maybe growing up watching college basketball, you want to be a part of that atmosphere and all that. But would you guys want to do that? Would you rather go play in college for a year or two, however long, at one of these storied programs, which it sounds like he could go mostly anywhere he wanted, unless it's maybe Duke, where I don't think Coach K might want him. But would you want to go to a storied program like that in college basketball and have your name out there and wait a little bit? Because I think LaMelo's situation is different from Mudiay's, because the Ball family has plenty of money and all that, so they don't have to worry about that. But would you want to go to college and play with those blue blood programs, or would you rather go try and get your money over in China and do the Stephon Marbury, just be a star over there for a little bit and then come back maybe?
Well, like Ben Simmons, he had trouble with academics. So I also feel like academics play a part of it, because clearly you're in college. And, I mean, if you just want to play basketball, why not go make that money in China while doing something that you love? So I think if it was me, and like you said, the Ball family, they already have money. I mean, just go make some more money. You go China, play some basketball, see you in a couple years. Something easy like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would assume. I think I would go to the college, but obviously, if you told me that I could just go play football back when I played and not have to worry about school, I'd probably lean more towards the football. But then again, I didn't have a chance of going pro, going to the NFL or anything. He has a chance to go to the NBA. So where I could think of that as, if he can get his money and he can live off maybe taking some business classes or maybe learning some business, because that's the thing. You got to be pretty dang good in order to bypass your degree and just say, okay, whatever, I'm just going to go live life and not have an education. Because I guess, I don't know, you could sell cars afterward. Because, I mean, if you already have the money, you can market yourself as the car salesman, and that's what plenty of former players do. They just sell cars, and it's not like they need the money. They just have that nice little bit of income there, and then they just market their name basically for the car dealership. So it's interesting to see. I'm not entirely sure. That's one of the things that the NCAA needs to figure out. Do you want to be able to give some of your players a stipend or something, or some sort of small incentive to stay in college? Or do you just say, you know what, we're going to keep things the way they are and just make the first semester there a joke? Because, I mean, as long as you pass the first semester, you don't have to do a dang thing in the second semester. Because what? As soon as you're done in March, there's no point. You don't need to be academically eligible for the next year.
Yeah.
And what I think what Major League Baseball does great is what I think the NBA should do. They should the Major League Baseball has the thing where if you get drafted out of high school, you have the opportunity to either A, go to college for your college scholarship that you may have, or you go to the MLB, and if things don't work out, then you still have that opportunity to go to school for free. So you still have that scholarship offer. It's just they're more protective of you in that situation. So if the NBA is able to do that, and I would think the NBA would be able to fund that, or at least be able to fund part of it, because think about it. There's a lot less players in the NBA. There's a lot less people bypassing high school or bypassing college to go to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it'd be a good opportunity for them to do that. Obviously, it's a lot more to it than me just saying it, but, you know.
I mean, it sounds reasonable enough. I mean,
yeah, because there's a lot of kids when I grew up in high school, they were like, well, kid got a scholarship offer to the University of Washington. It was either that or he went to go play single A or double A ball. And I think he just took the college scholarship because he just wanted to go to school and have that experience as opposed to struggle in the double A for however long. And
Yeah.
maybe there's something you can do in the G League now.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just bypass. For 1 year, you go to the G League, get paid $50K, $100K, however much they pay you down in the G League, and still develop. And that's another part of the equation. Are these guys even good enough? Or are they just trying to get in the NBA as fast as they can? So it's interesting to see. And certainly we will find that out. The NBA season is coming up in just a few weeks. We will be back next week to talk more NBA. And as the season draws closer, we'll see who's going to be coming out on top early. This is the X106 podcast here on KZLX 106.7.